Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief keeps you informed about what's happening in Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, and Maryland. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and, of course, local weather. Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Monday, June 3rd, 2024. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief presented by Annapolis Subaru and the SPCA of Anne Arundel County. I made a discovery last night. Regardless of the street, it must be an Eastport thing to drive like you're driving down on that lower half of Chesapeake Avenue, swerving out and then ducking behind a parked car to let another car pass. I was on President Street and the same thing. Despite that road being considerably wider, I guess people are just taking their half of the road out of the middle. And just a quick reminder, in case you're not signed up, our daily news recap newsletter is great for news that happens after this drops in the mornings and what happens over the weekend. It's local, it's free, it hits your email inbox at 7 p.m. every night, and I'm going to drop a link right here in the show notes. Feel free to share it. Anyhow, we do have a whole lot of news to catch up on, so shall we? We don't have a whole lot of information on this just yet, but just before 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon, a 69-year-old bicyclist was struck at Hilltop Lane and Primrose Road near the Pitt Moyer Rec Center in Annapolis. The injuries warranted being flown by a helicopter for treatment. Check back at eyeonannapolis.net a little bit later in the day for more details. Saturday was the Pride Parade and Festival, and all I can say is, wow. Just an amazing day of fun, laughter, and love, something we could probably all use a little bit more of today. The crowd rivaled, if not exceeded, the St. Paddy's Day Parade crowd, and no wonder U.S. News & World Report said it was one of the best on the East Coast. I have a ton of photos, and I'm going to try to get a few albums up a little bit later today, but I am going to leave a Dropbox link right here in the show notes for you if you want to see them right now before I get them up. Several Spirit Airlines employees have been suspended following a physical altercation at BWI. The incident involved a ground crew members and resulted in minor injuries. Authorities are investigating the cause of the fight, and Spirit Airlines has expressed its commitment to maintaining a safe working environment. The airline is cooperating with investigators and taking measures to prevent such occurrences in the future. Maryland officials have issued an RFP, or a request for proposals, to identify a contractor for the replacement of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The bridge is a critical infrastructure component, connects I-695 over the Baltimore Harbor. The new span is expected to be completed by 2028, and it's projected to cost up to $1.9 billion. Maryland's Transportation Department is prioritizing the selection process to ensure that the bridge meets modern standards and can accommodate future transportation needs. So if we have any bridge builders in the audience, sharpen up those pencils, but beware, the timeline seems very, very tight. Some good news on the tax front for a change. Maryland's gas tax will see a slight decrease starting in July. The reduction, albeit modest, is a result of adjustments in the state's inflation indexing formula. This change will provide minor relief to drivers amid fluctuating fuel prices. The current tax rate will drop by a few cents per gallon, easing that financial burden on motorists just a little bit. State officials do acknowledge the reduction's limited impact, but they do emphasize it as a positive step towards supporting Maryland residents. Hopefully you caught our Canines and Crosstrek segment on Friday with Grace, who is a 3-year-old poodle mix who's had a really rough life so far. But with the SPCA's care and treatment, she's ready to flourish in a forever home. Is that yours? If you missed it, go back and give it a listen. And on Saturday on the Local Business Spotlight, we spoke with Evie and Christina from Main End Market. If you missed that one, go back and give that a listen as well. And remember, coming up in a couple weeks, June 22nd, it is Eastport A-Rockin'. And if you go to eastportarockin.com and use the code EOAEAR24, you'll save $5 off of every one of the general admission tickets you want to buy. And this is a great local festival right down there at the Annapolis Maritime Museum on Eastport. 40 bands, 4 stages, fantastic day. All right, that is a wrap. Thank you first and foremost, and also a quick thank you to our sponsors for the Daily News Brief: Annapolis Subaru, the SPCA of Anne Arundel County, Solar Energy Services, and Hospice of the Chesapeake. And Covington is here with her Monday Money Report, and of course, George Young from DC MDVA Weather is here with the only locally forecasted weather report you're going to find. All that's coming up for you in just a bit, so hang around.
Have you ever had to wait to get an appointment at the Apple Store? Skip the wait and the line at the mall by visiting Mac Medics in Severna Park or Lanham, where appointments are not necessary. Mac Medics is an Apple-authorized service provider. Mac Medics services all Apple devices, including broken iPhone screens and batteries, and all without an appointment. Most iPhone repairs are complete the same day and usually within a few hours. Mac Medics is also an Apple-authorized reseller and sell Apple products at the same price as the Apple Store. Visit Mac Medics in Severna Park or Lanham for Apple-authorized sales and service and shop local. Don't wait for help. Call Mac Medics at 410-757-MAX, which is 410-757-6227. It's 410-757-6227. Or visit them online at macmedics.com. When you live near Annapolis, you know how fickle the weather can be. So you need a truly local forecast that's accurate and reliable. Forecast right here in Annapolis. DC MDVA Weather is not just for today, but for the rest of the week and the weekend too. Now here's George Young of DC MDVA Weather with the weather outlook for today and beyond.
Hey everyone, this is George with DC MDTA Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Monday, June 3rd. It was a really nice weather weekend for the Annapolis region as we moved into meteorological summer on Saturday, and the week and weekend ahead should bring fairly standard summertime conditions with warm temps and a chance for showers and storms with a pretty straightforward setup of daily AM lows in the 60s with daily PM highs in the low to mid 80s across the region with a chance each day today through Sunday of showers and storms, with the highest chance for rain possibly coming late Wednesday or Thursday, so plan accordingly as we get through the last full week of school for Anne Arundel County Public Schools and really start to move into full-time summertime mode. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DC MDVA Weather. Make it a great day out there today. Stay healthy and be safe, and be sure to follow DC MDVA Weather on Facebook and X for weather updates each day, along with the website at dcmdvaweather.info so you can always stay weather informed.
Coping with advanced illness can be overwhelming, and determining the best options for a loved one isn't always so easy. But here at Hospice of the Chesapeake, your hometown hospice, we want you to know you do have a choice. You can choose exactly who provides the care and the type of care you receive, and it's your decision when and where your loved one receives that care. We have served our community, family, and friends for over 40 years. We are there when you need us. Learn how we can help at hospicechesapeake.org.
You work hard for your money. Is your money working hard for you? Managing and investing it can be confusing. Ann Covington, a financial planner from CovingtonAlsina, has been helping people make sense of it for nearly 20 years. Are you ready? Now, here's your Monday Money Report.
This is Ann Covington of CovingtonAlsina with your Monday Money Report. While the markets were down last week, the S&P 500 was still up for the month of May. While stock prices move up and down in the short run, over long periods of time, a diversified portfolio remains a great way to grow assets. We've had a lot of questions lately about inheritances, specifically around IRAs and other retirement accounts. The rules changed in 2020. If the person you are inheriting an account from passed away in 2020 or later, the account falls under the Secure Act rules. Before we discuss the new rules, a couple of quick definitions. A required minimum distribution, or RMD, is that amount you must take out of the account each year, or face taxes on the RMD amount plus a 25% penalty. A qualified charitable distribution, or QCD, is a payment made from a retirement account directly to a nonprofit organization, something you can do starting at 70 and a half. It satisfies your RMD and isn't included in your taxable income. A traditional account was funded with pre-tax money, and distributions are taxed as ordinary income. A Roth account was funded with after-tax money, and no taxes are due for normal distributions. With those definitions in mind, if the beneficiary is the deceased spouse, the widow or widower can roll the account into their own IRA. It is then treated the same as if it was always their account and follows the same rules for distributions, including RMDs and QCDs. The one time you might not want to do this is if there was a significant age gap between the spouses. For example, when I'm 85, a handsome 25-year-old falls madly in love with me, and we marry. If I pass a few months later, he may not want to wait until 59 and a half to tap into all of my retirement funds. He can choose to treat the inheritance as if we weren't married at all and roll it into an inherited IRA. When someone other than the spouse inherits a retirement account, all of the money in the account must be distributed out within 10 years. While the Secure Act did not specify that RMDs needed to be taken from the inherited IRA, the IRS has decided that RMDs must be taken. That said, they have also waived all penalties for not taking them through 2024. If you've inherited a retirement account, you have a few options. You can take just the RMD each year, investing the rest of the money as you see fit and letting it grow until the end of the 10 years. At that point, you remove all the money from the account and pay taxes on it. The downside is that, depending on the size of the account, this could mean much of the account is taxed at a higher rate. You can also choose to spread the tax bill evenly over the 10 years, removing 1/10 of the account each year. If you don't need the funds, you can then invest the after-tax amount. If you're close to retirement, you may also want to take just the RMD each year until you stop working, then use the remaining portion to fund the first few years of retirement. Roth IRAs are a bit different. You don't have to take any RMDs from a Roth account. Depending on your situation, you may want to invest the account aggressively and let it grow for 10 years. Then take the full account value out completely tax-free, including any growth over the last 10 years. There are tweaks in the rules for minor children and individuals with disabilities. And if you are leaving money to a nonprofit, donating an IRA is tax efficient, as no tax is paid by the nonprofit on the funds. Finally, if you don't have a beneficiary on your account, it is paid to your estate and must be distributed within 5 years. This is the worst case scenario. Your heirs lose 5 years of tax-sheltered growth. In the case of a Roth account, they lose 5 years of tax-free growth. Your action item is to check the beneficiaries in all of your retirement accounts. While you're at it, check your pensions and life insurance too. Be sure to check out our website at CovingtonAlsina.com or our Facebook page for more information and to register for our upcoming educational events. CovingtonAlsina is a registered investment advisor. Information presented is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investment of all risk, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and or a tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. And if you don't have a financial advisor, come talk to us. This is Ann Covington with CovingtonAlsina.
Hello, energy consumers. This is Rick Peters, president of Solar Energy Services. Is all this talk of inflation making you uneasy? Me too, especially the uncertainty. How bad will it eat into my future purchasing power? Well, don't feel helpless because solar energy can give you some financial control. By installing and owning your solar system, you can lock out electricity cost inflation by locking in your electricity price for more than 25 years. Many of our inflation-fighting clean energy systems offset 100% of the annual electricity demands. Customers frequently add electric vehicle charging and backup batteries to their solar projects, providing them inexpensive auto fuel and additional energy security for the home. Freeze energy inflation in its tracks by committing to affordable, clean solar energy. Call us today at 410-923-6090 or visit us at solarsaves.net. But don't wait another minute. Sunshine's a wasted.
Sunshine, sunshine, nothing else can make me feel so fine.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues, this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. And don't forget about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. And make sure you follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Eye on Annapolis. This Daily News Brief podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m.